Check, check. Good afternoon and welcome back. Seems like we just left a few minutes ago, but we are back at WPI for the 2022 New England Swimming 11 to 14 Age Group Championships. This is our distance session. And folks, this will be a doozy, almost 2 hours of heat, 6 heats, of the mile for you. So we're going to try a few things different during this broadcast.
Session shortly. It's event 71 and 72 girls and boys 11 to 14 and 1650 freestyle. We're starting with one heat of girls 13-14, followed by one heat of boys 13-14. Then the fastest heat of girls 11-12. Then the fastest heat of boys 11-12, and then from then on we have combined age groups, a heat of boys and another heat of boys.
So there is the explanation of what is going on by Mark Wilds, the PA announcer down here at WPI. If anybody, I don't see a lot of people on. If you are out there and listening, jump into the live chat, send me a note just to make sure you can hear me okay, you can see the video okay. We're not going full production here for this 1650. We're going to keep it on the wide camera.
People who are counting, there should be counters behind each lane for you.
As we move along here, again, this is really the first meet that we've done almost 2 hours of distance. Lot of swimming here. I'm paranoid that nobody can hear me because nobody... Oh, there we go. Aiden Boyle. All right, Aiden. Aiden, aren't you a swimmer on the edge? I think you are. That's like my favorite logo of this whole tournament. All right, Maddie, you can hear as well. JoJo is in lane 9, as you can see on the screen. I'm not sure what we're waiting for. Looks like the officials are ready. We get timers, we get counters. They're counting the counters to make sure that they have enough. Somebody at each of the lanes. Again, we're just going to go wide camera on this instead of the constant switching back and forth. The fields are probably going to get spread out a bit as we keep going. So I am a one-man show right now. So nobody with me.
Swimming in lane 1 from Phoenix, Madeline Gregory. Lane 9.
So we're going to stay wide here, and we're going to try a few different things. Again, there's really no need for me to continue to tell you who took what lead. You know, we'll check in from time to time, obviously, in the top left. At every 50 split, you will see who's in the lead. So, for instance, right now, it's Hazel Muhaideen, followed by Kelly Rapucci. So you'll get a full breakdown of where everyone stands. All right, Aiden. Well, good luck to you tonight in finals. Again, I've said it ad nauseum. I love the Edge logo, and I think it's like the best one around. So pretty cool. So I get a lot of questions, folks, from people all the time. So I'm gonna open it up to anybody in the audience to ask me any question you want. I always have people who tell me, oh, I have so many questions for you. You know, I'd love to talk to you. Now's the time. We have almost 2 hours of 1650s coming up. So I am an open book for any question you may have. around just about anything. Because there is a lot of time to fill with a 1650. So pop that question or those questions into the live chat. Just so you know, in case you missed the start, Madeline Gregory is in lane 1, Sarah Rapucci in lane 2, Abigail Choi in 3, Jane Wheeler in 4, Megan Kelly in 5, Hazel Muhaideen in lane 6, Emma Kawai in 7, Noor Abdalal in lane 8, and in lane 9, Jojo Sabalowski. So there are your lane assignments. It's Megan Kelly in the lead right now in lane 5. Again, lane 1 is closest to the bottom of the screen. Lane 10 is at the very top. We have no one in lane 10. Lanes 1 through 9 are occupied. And I love, Aiden, I love that you're watching the swimming. I think that's awesome. I know there are a lot of swimmers that go back and watch these sessions after they're done swimming. They like to hear the commentary. They like to critique their swims. So I think that's awesome that you're watching, and you're probably going to be cheering on some of your teammates. That's a fantastic thing. So 44 of you here now. Like I said, we're going to open it up. Anyone who has any questions for me, pop them into the live chat. Can have just like a little fireside conversation while this 1650 is going on in the background, in which it's Megan Kelly from Bluefish leading the way in lane 5. I mean, I could read you splits ad nauseum, but I don't know if everybody would love that. Kelly is holding 31.2, 31.1, 39, 30.9, 31.3. She's led from the start. 350 yards in. This is a quiet group today. We're up to 50 people. 52 now. And we haven't had one person. So, you know what it's going to take? Someone needs to break the ice. I'm sure we have a lot of swimmers on here paying attention, like Aiden. So if you have any questions about the technology, I got a pretty cool setup up here for those of you who are into technology, and for those of you out there who might be into or thinking about, I don't know, maybe television production, broadcasting. That's certainly not my field, but I've adopted it as a second type of career almost. Looks like Hazel Muhaideen is caught up to Kelly in lane 6 there. And she is now our leader.
For our 2 leaders, Muhaideen, 509.80, 12/100ths right behind her. Kelly from Bluefish, 509.92.
Oh no, I feel like my Ask Me Anything session here is a flop. We're up to 63. For those of you just joining, I've put the call out there for anyone who's listening. If you have any questions you'd like to ask, people when they run into me typically ask me a lot of questions around the live streaming, around anything related to swim and such. So I figured it would be a good idea. This would be a perfect environment to have anyone ask me whatever they so choose. I can fire away on here while we have this 1650. It's event 71. It's the first heat. Hazel Muhaideen from Crimson moved into first right around that 500-yard mark. She's in lane 6. It's Megan Kelly in lane 5, right behind her. It's hard to believe that we have 64 people listening and watching, and nobody has anything to say. Aiden Boyle, you're watching. You must have a question around the technology, around swimming, around the live streaming. Anyone. So what I'll do is I'm going to start this off as we continue to watch Hazel Muhaideen from Crimson in lane 6 leading the way, followed by Megan Kelly from Bluefish. Believe it's Jane Wheeler, and it is. Wheeler in lane 4 running third. One of the biggest questions I get is, well, how did this thing start? How did you start live streaming? Do you work in TV production or journalism or something along that nature? So how it started is I am a amateur hack photographer on the side. I'm a big technology guy. The pandemic came in early 2020, and pretty much every swim team was shut down, right? There was nowhere to swim. Pools were closed. And it was a tough time for the sport, right? Tough time for everyone. You couldn't get into a pool. You couldn't do anything. And I the time periods escape me now. But it was Gators, which is the team that my two daughters are on, Gators Seekonk. We were out of the pool, I don't know, a month, maybe 2. I don't know. It could have been shorter than that. And then we started getting back to practicing at pods in East Providence, Rhode Island. We couldn't get into Brown for sure. We couldn't get into Seekonk High School. Those are our 2 pools that we utilize. So we get into pods practicing in a very limited, controlled environment. Basically, there were like 6 kids allowed at once at first, 1 per lane. And there were these lane dividers up. Then they, slowly get up to 12. Then after about a month, with obviously no meets happening, they wanted to do a inter-squad meet in a very controlled environment. I think we did like 3 sessions that day. So I reached out to Caitlin Grant, who is one of the coaches with a couple different groups within Gators. She's the daughter of Ray Grant, who Ray is the owner of Gator Swim Club Seekonk. And I said to her, look, I have all equipment from photography. I would be more than happy if you guys are going to have this inter-squad meet to live stream it, right? I know parents can't get into the building. People are dying to get back connected with swim in some way, shape, or form. So Caitlin thought it was a great idea, and we worked with Susan Pascal, who is the owner of Pods. We had to upgrade the internet there, which she very graciously did. And we started streaming. And
Muhaideen 10:20.85 there, 5:09 out, 5:11 in the middle 500, opening up a large lead over Kelly, who's still sitting in second.
So Hazel Muhaideen, 10-second lead over Megan Kelly right now. I believe it's still Jane Wheeler running in third.
Comes in at the 17:20.
I'm going to turn Mark down a little bit. So if you go back and you go check out our Gator Swim Club Seekonk YouTube page, every single meet we've done is on there. And our first foray into streaming was interesting. I had one camera on a tripod, and I was swiveling it from side to side. Pods does not have like an elevated position like here at WPI. It's a smaller, it's a teaching facility pretty much. They do have a 6-lane, 25-yard pool. They also have a smaller teaching pool there. So we started doing the live stream. The audio was very rough. It didn't sound like it does now. I had like I was using my Apple plug-in headphones and really wasn't saying a lot. And I went home after that first meet and I rewatched it because I just wanted to see kind of what was, how it came out. And I thought it was terrible because I wasn't talking a lot. And with swimming, as you all can understand, if there's nothing on the screen to guide you, so right now we have a graphics package which basically can tell you everything. But if you don't have any graphics and you don't have anybody telling you what's going on, identifying swimmers, it's pretty difficult to follow along. You lose interest really, really quick. So my wife and I were talking about it, and she basically was like, you need to talk more. You need to describe what's going on a lot more. And I did a little bit on that first one. So slowly but surely, I do like to talk. I started talking more, really getting into the play-by-play aspect of what was going on in the pool. As time went on, we eventually were allowed to go back and move into Seekonk High School. And while we were at Pods before Seekonk, as things started to kind of progress along, we had some really controlled meets with Crimson, with one of the Crimson branches from South County, Rhode Island. And we did that for months. And I'm sure they got sick of us. Our kids probably got sick of them. We would race against the same people maybe once a month. Then we moved over into Seekonk, and it was a lot of the same. But now at Seekonk, I had a little more space. So I had stands, which were elevated a little bit. So it opened up a few more possibilities to me in terms of cameras and in terms of, putting on a different level of production. So we went to Seekonk High School. I was able to add, I think we had 2 cameras then. So we added a second camera, one for each end of the pool. We upgraded the audio. So I purchased a mixer, some fancy headphones, broadcast headphones and such. And I got a video switcher. And, we had a 2-camera broadcast, and that continued to go well. And things started to pick up steam, right? Parents loved it. I would get tons of parents telling me how great it was and how thankful they were. And we've basically just grown it from there. I did search for software that would have these fancy names and lanes and all that stuff on the screen. I did find one company. We gave them, or they enabled us to do a demo. We did a demo. It didn't work out. It was really difficult to get the software to work. Hazel Muhaideen continues to be your leader, so I'm still watching and keeping track of this, as I'm sure you all are. So Muhaideen in lane 6 continues to lead the way. She's at the 1450 yard mark, so she's got 200 to go. You'll probably hear that bell for her pretty soon. Megan Kelly from Bluefish is running in second. Jane Wheeler is in third, and Sarah Rapucci is in fourth. So we moved to Seekonk like we talked about. We started to branch out. I investigated some software, found one company, it didn't work. And then I found this solution that we currently use, Streamline Aquatics. And again, the time periods escape me a little bit, but I reached out to them. I asked to do a demo. They really didn't have anything in place to do a demo, and they never got back to me, or their reseller didn't get back to me. I kind of forgot about it. And then it was October of this past year, so 2021, when I was asked to do seniors, the senior championships at Brown University. And I thought, what better place to demo this software with an audience like that at a championship meet? So I reached back out to the company, and this time I got in touch with the owner. who is, you've heard me talk about Dr. Dave Lacey. There's the bell for Muhaydin. So she's got 50 to go. Fantastic swim here for Muhaydin in the 1650. So she came in with a 17:20.91. Let's see. She's definitely going to beat 17:20 for sure. So Muhaydin will come in and take this. Let's get her time. 17:05.29. We're going to back out and go back wide here so you can finish seeing everyone else. Looks as though Megan Kelly will be the next one to finish. Kelly 17:28.46. And here comes Jane Wheeler, so we're going to keep it down at this end, because I believe that's Jane Wheeler, and it is 17:44.42. There's the bell for, see, when I switch cameras like that, the overlays stay unless I take them away. Who's finishing up here? So that's Rapucci. We'll stay down at the end here. So I'll take a quick break. I'm getting self-conscious. Is anybody listening to me? I don't want to be telling this story if nobody finds it interesting in the slightest bit, and there isn't a lot of engagement right now on the live chat. So is anyone out there really listening and even maybe 1% interested in what I'm talking about? If you're not, please tell me, because I will certainly stop. I have to think that with 83 people watching right now, that there's got to be someone who can jump into the live chat, and someone who's been listening. Maybe they are interested in the story. Charles River Aquatics is here. That's good. That's nice to hear. At least I have one friend in Charles River. All right, Mike Copeland's here. So you know what? At least I have two friends that are out there listening, so I'm going to continue the story as we go into the next heat. Whoops. Oh, I don't know why my results are doing that.
Heat 2, Heat 1 of boys.
All right, there we go. We're back. This is the boys, so event 72, Heat 1. We have Ethan Halpern from Pioneer Valley. What happened to my graphics? What did I do here?
Lane 3 from Amherst Tritons, Kale.
Hold on, folks.
Lane 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, all from Bluefish.
There we go. I think that's what I needed to do. Sometimes the software is not complicated. It's easy to use. Hold on, let me make sure. There we go.
Keith Hartman and Moritz Gerhardt.
So where was I? Ethan Halpern from PVAA is in lane 1. Evan Hong from Bluefish in 2. Cale Copeland from the Tritons in lane 3. Braden Ando from Bluefish in lane 4. Alex Parent from Bluefish in 5. Zach Parent from Bluefish in 6. Chris Zhang from Bluefish in 7. It's all Bluefish all the time here. Eric Nee from Bluefish in lane 8. Keith Hartman from Gators in lane 9. And Moritz Gerhard from Gators in lane 10. If you missed the first heat, folks, I'm staying at the wide camera angle. We're working on like a limited production right now. So where were we in the story? I was tapped to broadcast the senior championships at Brown University for New England Swimming. This was happening in December, so I reached out to Streamline Aquatics, I'd say in the October-November timeframe, and I, fortunately, just by being persistent, I got in touch with and ended up developing a relationship with the man who wrote the software. And if you've heard me talk about a Dr. Dave, this gentleman's name is Dr. Dave Lacey. He is a cancer radiologist. I'm not big on the medical terms, but he's a radiologist of some sorts in Des Moines, Iowa. And Dave actually is a coder on the side. I guess he's written numerous software programs, over the years in his life for different things. And he's a swim parent just like you and I. And he wrote this software because he noticed that this was something that was missing from swimming broadcasts, especially live streams. Now, the timetable of when he wrote it, I don't know. I believe it was quite a few years ago. And he wrote the software. We did a demo. It was wildly successful at seniors. Everybody absolutely loved it. And, this is a little known. I try and talk about this, but this graphics package, right, these exact graphics are what they used in the 2020 Olympics. So it's what NBC used when broadcasting the 2020 Olympics. And I mentioned this the other night too, if you watched any of the NCAA conference championships, which were streaming last weekend on ESPN Plus, so basically every conference in the country had their swimming championships last weekend. This was used by the Southeastern Conference, so that's the SEC, the Atlantic Coast Conference, the Mountain West Conference. So there's quite a few conferences that were using this alongside with ESPN. So reached out to Dr. Dave. We got it. Seniors was successful. At that point, we have continued to add things to the broadcast. And I knew this was the one missing piece that would just knock everyone's socks off, is having a graphics package like this when you're watching your kids swim. COVID, no COVID, whatever the case may be. And that's kind of where the story leads to here. I've been doing all of our Gators meets. My goal and my vision for live streaming is that even once COVID ends, this is exactly what the sport of swimming needs, right? Swimming needs exposure. Swimming needs reach, engagement, audience. And this can be such a powerful tool. And let's face it, once things return to normal, many of you, especially after not being able to see your kids swim live for quite some time, those first few meets, you'll be right back at the pool. But there will certainly be a large portion of people, too, who say, oh, Lord, I didn't miss sitting in the hot pool for 4.5 hours on a weekend, or maybe longer if I have 2 kids, one in each session. So I certainly think and believe there is a big future with live streaming as it pertains to swimming in New England. I am hoping to work with New England Swimming and all of the clubs on that. I myself would like to be heavily involved in what that vision looks like into the future. I have 2 kids swimming. I have Addison, who's 15. She's a sophomore at Seekonk High School and swims for Gators as well. And I have Avery, who's 10, a 4th grader in Seekonk and swims for Gators. So Avery's 10. She's not going anywhere. I'm in the swim game for at least the next 8 to 9 years. So I really want to set up a good foundation for New England Swimming and the clubs to make this kind of just a normal thing. My initial goal is going to be with the championship meets. So when you talk about, regionals, I did regionals this year. I'm doing all of the age groups. The only one I'm not scheduled for is silvers. I don't know what the story is with that. I don't know what is going to happen with that. But I think there's a desire and an appetite for all of these meets, whether they're championship or not, to have a live stream for them. I can't tell you how many grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, sisters, you name it, of people who just can't make it to the pool. Let's face it, folks, not everybody lives within the vicinity of the pool that their loved one is swimming at. Not everybody has the time to do it. And this is that bridge. This enables them to be able to see their loved ones compete and stay connected with them. This is a powerful recruiting tool for all of your swimmers who intend to swim in college. Any college coach can go on to the platform and watch the races, watch the swims. I know our Gators organization uses it as a teaching tool as well. They'll go back in, have group sessions, and watch races and kind of analyze stroke technique, turns, starts, reaction times. So a lot of potential for this into the future. I firmly believe, again, I'm extremely passionate about this. I'll take you to the action in the pool quick for a break of the story for a second here. And it is the parents leading the way. So Alex in 5 in first. Zach, his brother, in second. It's Braden Ando in third. Chris Zhang in fourth. And Eric Nee in fifth. So your top 5 are all bluefish right now. They've just passed, or right at a little past the halfway point. Again, Halpern in 1, Hung in 2, Copeland in 3, Ando in 4, Alex Parent in 5, Zach Parent in 6, Chris Zhang in 7, Eric Nee in 8, Keith Hartman in 9, Moritz Gerhard in 10. There's also a very big potential. So there are so many visions that I have as to what this could do. But let's face it, there's also a monetary aspect for this in terms of monetizing this to the benefit of the clubs and New England Swimming. I can't tell you how many parents will say to me, "Hey, I own a small business. I'd love to advertise with you guys. I'd love to sponsor, something." So, when you think about, up next is the 50 freestyle. It's sponsored by, Joe's Landscaping. I put Joe's Landscaping's logo up on the screen, mention them quite a few times. They give me a few sentences to talk about their business. There are so many ways that this can be monetized. And let's face it, folks, you all would pay for this. I know I certainly would. There's no doubt about it. So when you think about, from a club's perspective, they may think, well, if I'm live streaming these, I'm not going to get a heat sheet sale and I'm not going to get a $5 entry fee. But that's the wrong way of thinking, because you most certainly will. You can monetize this very easily. People will pay for access to this, and the NFHS network is a perfect example of that. For those of you unfamiliar, that's a network that basically has the rights to every state in the U.S., their high school associations, to broadcast the playoffs and the championship games. So I'm sure many of you are familiar with it. I actually do some play-by-play and color commentary work for them as well, but they have a pretty easy model. It's $10.99 a month. You can cancel at any time. You can join at any time. You can cancel at any time. And that model has proven very successful. They have sponsors. They have advertisers. They run commercials. I can do the same thing. So with this Streamline Aquatics platform, maybe you've seen it. I've run a few commercials. Just for one, we have one sponsor for this weekend. It's A3 Performance. I've talked about them a little bit. So I think the future of live streaming, especially as it pertains to swimming, is something that, quite frankly, has to be explored very deeply and something that has to be adopted. It's the new way of thinking when you think about your kids, I mean, this is actually funny. I was in the lobby the other day. I was talking to a parent from another team, and they introduced their son to me. And they said to their son, hey, Tommy, this is Jeremy. He does the announcing on YouTube. And the boy, he was, I don't know, 11 or 12, he said to his friend, oh, he's a YouTuber. Like, that is the way. YouTube is cool. Video streaming is cool. Technology is cool. One of the things I've talked about, I want to get more swimmers involved in this. I want to interview swimmers during the races. One of my next things is to get somebody on deck, whether it's, a swimmer that maybe it's not their session or it's a different session, a sibling or whatever, and do some live interviews after swimmers race. So just like you'll see, in the Olympics, in college championships, anywhere where swimming is broadcast, swimmers get out, they interview the swimmers, and it doesn't always have to be the winning swimmer. It can be any swimmer, right? We don't want to just say, okay, well, we're only going to interview you if you win. I want to talk to everybody. I want every kid to feel special about, hearing their name, getting maybe their face on camera if they want to, having their voice heard. So kind of a long story there, but that's how I got into the broadcasting. I do. This isn't my full-time job by any stretch. I work for Amazon Business, so I am a business sales guy for Amazon Business. I cover the Canadian government sector. Shout out to all my Canadians out there. If anyone's out there from Canada, I'm very familiar. I started with Amazon in April of 2020, so right, during the crazy part of the pandemic. It's the Parent Brothers continuing to lead the way, just so we don't lose track of what's going on in the pool. It is Alex in lane 5. He's got 200 yards to go. It is Zach that is running second. Braden Ando is in third. Chris Zeng in fourth. Evan Hong in fifth. So it's Bluefish all the way. That's actually Cale Copeland is in sixth from the Tritons. Eric Nee in seventh. Moritz Gerhardt eighth. Keith Hartman ninth. Ethan Halpern 10th right now, but he's in a good mix at the bottom of the screen here. So that's the story. Like I said, that's the most frequent question that I get asked about, how did you start doing this? How did this get going? So I took that and just gave you a little bit about my future. And folks, for those of you who are in support of live streaming, right, and this, right, what I'm doing, this, you need to make your voices heard. Because there are still a lot of people who believe and think that, okay, as soon as this goes back to normal, we don't need to do this anymore. And I firmly believe that is the wrong way to look at this. There's the bell for Alex Parent. I think it's very easy for live streaming and in-person audiences to coexist very, very easily. When you look at any sport in America, you can go watch it live. You can watch from your home. You have that choice. We don't want to take that choice away. We want to give people more options. Oh, let's see what happened to my graphics here. I hit a button earlier, and who knows what I did. I think we're going to get a lane marker here. See what happens when there we go. So the Parents take 1 and 2. Alex 15:43.75. Zach 16:05.61. So Alex came in with a 15:50. He goes out with a 15:43. We're going to go wide for you here. Then we'll capture that finish. So that's the bell. Everybody else is getting the bell. Braden Ando will come in and finish. 16:50.69. So we're going to stay on the start end. Carla, I'm just seeing your comment. Yeah, I know, Carla. It is hard to see the higher lanes. You know, when we go to that, it's one of those things because of where we're located at the pool, because WPI's pool is pretty interesting. It's 13 lanes, and they don't really use those first 3 lanes. So the pool is a little further away from the stands than it would be if this was like a true 10-lane pool. And because of that, it's hard to get a very wide shot that captures everything because then it starts to look very stretched out. So my best advice to you would be definitely watching this on a bigger screen, whether it's a tablet or a television or a computer certainly helps. So our next heat is in the water. Sam Noble from South Shore in lane 3. Eliana Lamb in lane 4. Margot Levesque in lane 5. Eilette Nishikawa Gaitham in lane 6. Erin Kelly in lane 7. And Evelyn Welk Rice in lane 8. So I'm only a one-man production. I would love to have someone, you know, up here with me if I had like a really fancy Zoom camera that I can go back and forth and pan with, but that's not how we do it here. So I understand those top lanes sometimes when we're in the wide shot are harder to see. But I think we can make do with this, hopefully. So that's the story, folks. That's the story of the live streaming, the vision. And I think I was saying if you are someone who is in support of what I'm doing, what we're doing from a Gators perspective, make your voice heard, right? reach out to the folks at New England Swimming, neswim.com. You know, and let them know. I know they're always looking to hear feedback from parents. I mean, if it wasn't for the swimmers and the parents and the families, you know, there would be no swimming organization. So make your voice heard. Let them know that, you know, let your club know. I've helped with and spoke with numerous clubs on live streaming. And I think the biggest misconception is, well, we can't afford that at all. You know what? I had equipment. But you know what? There's certainly going to be a little bit of a upfront investment. But again, with the ways that this can be monetized and the reach that you get from this, some of the things are really hard to put on paper, right? If you have a high school swimmer who wants to swim college and you want to be able to have your kid go in after they swim in meets and cut up and cut some video and send it to college coaches, what's that worth to you? I know for me it's worth something. I can definitely put a cost on it. If it's going to help my daughter get in or get exposure to a coach at a college maybe she wants to go to that maybe wouldn't normally know who she was up in Seekonk, Massachusetts, I'm going to be all about it. It's tough to put a price tag on that. So that's my story. I'd love to hear your feedback on that. If you agree, if you disagree, if you have alternative viewpoints. This is a totally safe zone. I will never get offended by anything you say. And trust me, folks, I would say on these live streams, the folks in the live chat are 99.9% the nicest people ever. You notice I did not say 100. There have been a few instances where it's just, I laugh because I have to laugh. If not, I might actually get upset or angry. But, yeah, it's just sometimes it's tough to please everyone. You certainly try. It doesn't always work. Ocean's Edit asks, when is the guys 11-12? So the next heat, let's see, where are we here? The next heat is going to be 11-12 boys. I mean, it's kind of mixed in. So heat 4 has all 12-year-old boys. That's heat 4. Heat 5 is going to have a mix of 11, 12, 13, and 14-year-old boys. And then heat 6 will have 11, 12, and 13-year-old boys. Amy Parent, thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. So, yeah, there are some people that just can't be pleased, and I'm sure we've all run into them in life. I've had a couple people be a little nasty on the live chat before, mainly pertaining to name pronunciations. And I typically always make a disclaimer at the beginning. Look, I do my best with names, and I think listen, I have plenty of faults, but I think I do fairly well with name pronunciations. But look, I'm not going to nail every name. And sometimes I have a mental block where even if you tell me the way it is, I still screw it up. And it's not on purpose. It's not insulting. And I've had some people, I have maybe messed up their name a little bit, and they have gotten nasty. But other than that, like I said, 99.9% of every interaction has been positive. And it's just, a testament to all of the spectacular families within New England swimming. So I said a lot. I'd love to hear from you. We got almost 100 people. 96 folks are tuning in right now. I'd love to hear your perspective on what I just said. I'd love to, if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them for you. But again, you got to let your voice be heard, right? If this is something that you are behind and think should continue, make sure your club owner knows. Make sure the folks at New England Swimming know. I know they're going to be putting together a task force to kind of investigate the concept of live streaming as a permanent thing, and I know they're looking for parents to be on that task force committee. So if that's something you're interested in, again, go to anyswim.com. Shoot them an email. There's a board of directors. You can shoot, I'm sure, any one of them an email and express your interest. Margot Levake continues to lead the way. She's been in the lead since the opening gun. Her teammate and training partner, Ailette Nishikawa-Gaitham, is in second. Erin Kelly is in third. Noble in lane 3, Lamb in lane 4, Levake in 5, Nishikawa-Gaitham in lane 6, Kelly in 7, Evelyn Welk-Rice in lane 8. So Carla Bernier just says, love being able to watch my granddaughter from a comfortable place. And exactly, Carla, you're making my point on this, right? There are people who are unable to make it to the pool, even in non-COVID times. It's not always feasible for someone to get to the pool. And what better to what better place than the comfort of your own home? And I'll be completely transparent with you. Let's just say I was not involved in this live stream. But let's say it exists the way I'm doing it. It was just somebody else doing it. So when COVID came back, sure, the first couple meets, I'm sure I'd be in that pool and front row and whatever. But, once we got back into the normalcy of it, I would love the flexibility to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go on Saturday, but on Sunday I'm going to watch from home because I got to get some stuff done. Or, I got to run out during the session and, I have it on my iPad or on my phone in case I don't make it back in time. I don't miss any of your swims. So that's what it means to me. Mazen Muhaideen asks about my opinion between the 1,500 meters or 1,650 yards. I think, swimming long course in a meter pool is a lot more tiring. I'll tell you that, and I'm sure the swimmers will tell you that. Not having those walls to build off of. That's a good question I'll ask when I have some swimmers on that have swam in both. And that's another thing, right? We haven't really swam long course in New England in a couple of years. Well, at least I know from my perspective with Gators, and I think most organizations, there haven't been long course pools available. So we swam long course last year completely in a short course pool. At the 950-yard mark, it's Levesque continuing to lead, followed by Nishikawa Gaitham. 4.5 seconds behind. They're in lanes 5 and 6. In the middle of your pool, both with the black bluefish caps going right to left right now. There's Levesque making her turn. Levesque is at the 1,050-yard mark. Nishikawa Gaitham still running second. Erin Kelly still running third. It's been a great weekend of swimming here at WPI. And we'll be right back at it 5 days from now for the 15 to 18-year-old age group championships. And like I've mentioned before, I certainly appreciate everybody taking the time to join us here, to be engaging. Again, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, I really am interested to hear parents' viewpoints on how are they looking at live streaming. I mean, I think, from the parents that I speak to, and obviously I talk to a lot of parents, not only on Gators, but everywhere else, I think the consensus is, oh my gosh, this is something that can never go away. We're in 2022. We're not in the 1980s. But I'd love to hear your opinion. Yeah, so Carla Bernier says if you want to chat or if you want to type in the chat, I think you may have to subscribe to the channel. So that's a pretty easy, the subscription button is a red button, a little rectangle And I believe that would enable you the opportunity to chat. We're at the 1250-yard mark. Levesque is still powering away in lane 5. When you look at Levesque's splits, she's been the model of consistency. So from the very beginning, let's take a look at the 100-yard mark: 31.9, 32.4, 32.4, 32 flat, 32 flat, 31.5, 31.8, 31.9, 32.1, 31.8, 32.1, 31.9. I mean, it goes on, but she's so consistent. 31 high, 32 low. She's had quite a few 50 splits that have been the exact same. So just having a really efficient, repeatable stroke. Looks like Levesque is breathing. She's going breathing twice, then taking 3 strokes, breathing twice every 3 strokes. So she's settled into a good cadence right from the beginning. Nishikawa Gaitham remains in second, 7 seconds behind. Erin Kelly remains in third. She's swimming out of lane 7. As I sit here in the silence, it's quiet in here. It definitely, I've also learned a few things during this live stream, right? I was new to this YouTube thing, and in the very beginning, what we used to do, I had music playing. So, you know, between heats, between swims, I would have music playing in the background. And then all of a sudden, I started getting copyright strikes on our videos. And it's amazing the algorithm that YouTube has. You could be playing a song at literally 1 decibel, and that software can pick it up. It'll tell you what song it is, and it will tell you that you are copyright infringing. And they give you a couple options. You can either take the video down and edit it yourself, or you can basically hit a button and they can remove the copyright protected music from your video. So I learned that pretty early on, that you can't have fun with copyrighted music. Everybody wants a piece. So that was something I learned. Normally, you know, I might have some music on right now, especially in a race like this, even if it's background music, something soft in the background, just so there's not silence when I'm not talking. Here comes the bell for Levesque. So once again, these 11 and 12-year-old swimmers continue to impress me like no other. Levesque came in with a 17:34. She most certainly is going to drop time here. So a 7-second time drop for Levesque. Here's Nishikawa Gaitham, 17:36. She came in with a 17:59, so a 23-second time drop for her. I'm going to keep it at this end quick because here comes Erin Kelly, I believe. Finishing up, maybe not finishing up. I don't see the timers there, so not finishing up yet. So we'll go wide. We'll get rid of those graphics for right now. So Levesque takes first. Nishikawa Gaitham takes second. They share a congratulatory handshake. Wes Hartman checking in. Here's the bell for Kelly. Here's the bell for Eliana Layham in lane 3. Or 4, I think. 4, excuse me. Sam Noble is in lane 3. And there's the bell for Sam as she continues to power through. So Kelly takes third. It will be Eliana Layham taking fourth. She's right here in lane 4. I believe this will be her. It is. So we're going to stay down at this end. Noble goes 19:34.51. Huh. I don't know why my results button is doing that. That's. I'll have to figure that out. But here is the next heat. Men's 11 and 12, 16:50. There are your lane assignments. We'll run through those. Dennis Dragomoretsky from Phoenix in lane 1. Jacka Blondie, friend of the program there. Hello, Megan. In lane 2 from Executive, James Cook from the Bluefins in lane 3. Dylan Belair from Executive in lane 4. Jonathan Fioli-Harhi from Anglerfish in 5. I bumped into Jonathan and his mom at the hotel after the first session this morning, so it was good to be able to say hi to Jonathan, wish him luck here this afternoon. Kian Graybar in lane 6. Luca Guerra in lane 7 from Bluefish. Porter Mulgrew from the YMCA of the North Shore in lane 8. Carter Siddig in lane 9 and Derek Liu in lane 10. You know, Carrie, that's the other appeal to this is it is easy to do. So one of the things that I was debating and trying to figure out when I started this whole thing up was it needs to be easy for people. You're right. Like a Zoom meeting is not meant to televise a swim meet. I'm sorry. That's not. I applaud clubs and organizations who have tried that to make it work. It's just not something that works. Number one, if you're not tech savvy, you're going to have a tough time getting into a Zoom. Secondly, they're running Zooms typically from like a laptop camera. That's not meant to broadcast any sort of sport. It's meant to broadcast your grainy face from about a foot or two in front of your computer screen. So, I wanted to make sure that we had something that was easy to use. YouTube is exactly that platform. There are different platforms should you wish to monetize it and put up a paywall, but I still feel it's much easier than anything that you would do on Zoom. So shout out to your swimmers' grandparents out in Ohio. Hope they're watching this weekend. Hope they're enjoying the broadcast. For sure. I am excited that I will have my daughter Addison with me tonight on the broadcast. She is a swimmer, as I've mentioned. She swims for Gators. She'll, as a matter of fact, be competing here next weekend in 15 to 18 age groups. She competed for Seekonk High School at the MIAA States championships yesterday at Boston University, placing third in the 2IM and fourth in the 100 back. Had to get a little plug in for Addison. So she doesn't necessarily always love getting on the mic, but I think it's important for her. It's to learn those good communication skills. I warn you in advance, she says the word like a lot. I think a lot of our kids, especially teenagers, use a lot of those filler words. Everything is like this. I went like he was so tall, like everything is like. So it should be exciting to have Addison on the broadcast tonight. It's always fun when I get to have other swimmers on. I've actually had a couple swimmers ask me this weekend if they could come on. Unfortunately, I was unable to do that. I had to provide a list of people that would be in the stands with me at WPI. That list had to be approved ahead of time. So one was unable to do anything like that on the fly. DJ, I appreciate the words. It's good to hear. I mean, and when we think about the audience, so we had 338 people on Friday night. And for just our regular Gator meets, we've had upwards of 200 people. And, you know, we're just little old Gator Swim Club Seekonk. We have 100 swimmers on our team. I know it's bigger than a lot of teams, but there are teams that are bigger, significantly bigger. Yes, DJ, it is. It is. Making your voice heard, neswim.com. So that's the New England Swimming website. I believe when you go on there, you can click around. There might be a Contact Us link, or at least the board of directors is on there, and there are plenty of emails, email addresses that you can send something to, and that's great. Listen, folks, they want to hear from parents. You are their organization. Your swimmers are their organization. So any organization that doesn't listen to their members, their customers, their clients, we have one of our mottos at Amazon, and again, I work for Amazon Business, so it's part of Amazon, is, being customer obsessed. And if you know the Amazon story, like him or don't like Jeff Bezos, he had a vision and he has executed on that vision like no other. But customer obsession is at the forefront of everything that Amazon does. Now, of course, I say that, and I know I have people that will give me, a story that's not customer obsessed, but that is what we strive for every single day at Amazon, is to be customer obsessed. And I think you see and you find the most successful companies in the world from a global standpoint are organizations and companies and brands that listen to their customers. They take constructive feedback. They give their customers what they want. So I know New England Swimming is looking to do that, looking to hear feedback and being flexible to pivot and to adapt. Jonathan Fioli-Haughey, he has led this thing from the beginning. We're at the 700-yard mark. He's the only one who has gone past the 700-yard mark right now. Everyone else is approaching that 700-yard mark. Kian Graybar is the second swimmer to get there. Fioli-Haughey will be making his 750-yard turn momentarily, and he just does. Kian Graybar running second. Dylan Belair third. Porter Mulgrew running fourth. As I look at, kind of where I am with swimming, I find it still amazing that I am as into swimming as I am. I did not swim as a kid growing up, so I know how to swim, but I was never a competitive swimmer. Played, the traditional basketball, baseball, and it wasn't – I can even remember when Addison started swimming – you have to know as a swim parent now, and many of us are veterans at this point, right? But when you first get into swimming, there's so many quirky, weird things. I didn't know the verbiage. I didn't even know all the strokes. I didn't know what an IM was. All these different terms. And I couldn't believe, I remember going to the first club meet that Addison had. It was for Seacoast. We used to be a part of Seacoast. And we were there for like 4.5 hours. And I absolutely couldn't believe it that you would sit there for that long. And when you think about it, your swimmer is swimming, I don't know, 6 minutes combined, probably less than 6 minutes in a meet, right? Altogether, maybe, 4 to 8 minutes. They're actually spending time in the pool swimming competitively. But you're there for like 4 or 5 hours. So I would have never imagined that back then that I am where I am now. I am happily spending that time broadcasting meets and really extending that reach out there. Fioli Haughey continues chugging along in the lead. He's the only one at the 1,000-yard mark right now. Kian Graybar is in second. Dylan Belair third. I mean, without the coaches yelling, doing those hut, 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 like swim coaches do, that was another thing that completely drove me nuts when I first came into swim. And I'm sure many of you are going to agree on this, right? Obviously, you have no clue what's going on, and you get into these meets, and these coaches are doing these crazy whistles and whoop, whoop, whoop. And it absolutely drove me bananas. Literally for like the first 6 months of going to swim meets, I couldn't, I would always have in some sort of headphones to try and block it out. Some of the loudest ear-piercing whistles and noises for tempo I know it's obviously, during the breaststroke, it's definitely very prevalent for timing and tempo. But does it really work, swimmers? If there are any swimmers out there listening right now, hop into the live chat. When your coach is doing that thing on the sideline, right, the loud whistle or the woot, 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 do you hear that? Does that help you? My daughter claims she doesn't hear it at all. So when she's swimming, her coach could be hooting and hollering, and she can't hear a thing. But I'm curious, does it help? Do coaches just do that? Is it just kind of it's a swimming thing, right? It's what you do. Any swimmers out there listening, jump into the live chat. Tell me about that. Does that help you? Fioli Haughey is coming in on 1350. And again, when you look at his splits, since the beginning, he has been in the 31s every single split, 50 split with the exception of 2 so far. So again, talking about that model of consistency, 31-8, 31-4, 31-7, 31-4, 31-8, 31-6, 31-4, 31-2, 31-4, 31-5. So again, a repeatable, efficient stroke as Fioli Haughey continues to chug away. All right, Bubble Siren says yes sometimes. Jaden Fioli Haughey, who we have also seen swim this weekend and has done a great job. Sister of Jonathan in the pool right now says depends on the stroke or how loud or close they are. Yeah, I can see that. So what is the stroke? Is it breaststroke that you hear them the most? Since you're basically your ears are going above the surface of the water with every stroke? Or what stroke is it? These are things I love to learn and know. Being a swim parent for what? Addison started at 8. She's 15 now. So for 7 years, I still find it fascinating. Okay, so Aiden Boyle says my coach doesn't do it. Not every coach does it. It's funny though. I always, wonder when the coaches are doing all their motions. And so Gabe Oliva Booth says, I think it's all of the strokes for me. So Gabe, do you hear it? Does it help you? Like when your coach is yelling at you from the sidelines or making those noises, does it help you? All right, so Gabe says it helps me a lot and it gives me directions. All right. See, that's what I wanted to know. It like I said, I find it truly fascinating. Jonathan Fioli Haughey has the bell, so he'll finish up his 50. Folks, he is going to finish up in an amazing time. Let's see. He came in with a 17:43, making a late push here at the end. So Fioli Haughey goes a 17:12. So a 31-second time drop for Fioli Haughey. I'm going to go wide here because he had such an amazing performance that there is still a lot of this race left to go. That's Kian Graybar in lane 6 getting the bell. So he is the next closest swimmer. It will be Dylan Belair, which gets the bell after him. Belair is in lane 4. So here comes Gray Bar. (18:04.06) for Gray Bar. Dylan Belair will be the next one to come in lane 4. Looks like it will be Porter Mulgrew in lane 8, who's about to finish. There's the bell for Luca Guerra in lane 7. So Mulgrew goes in 18:48.62. More bells ringing. Guerra takes 5th, 19:22.15. We'll keep it here as the majority of our swimmers are coming in now. Top of your screen, look at that, a tie for 7th between Carter Siddig and Derek Liu. 19 minutes, 37 seconds of swimming, and Carter Siddig and Derek Liu tie. Jacka Blondie takes 6th, 19:37.79. So Gray Bar had a fantastic swim, coming in 2nd. Belair 3rd. Mulgrew 4th. Dragomoretsky takes 9th. James Cook from the Bluefins will finish up. Tammy Gray Bar. Tammy, you put the phonetic pronunciation in there again. I'm pretty positive I said it right. Am I still not saying it right? I'm getting a little bit of a complex here. Here's our lane assignments for Heat 3. In lane 1 from PVAA, Eric Henderson. In lane 2 from EA Executive, Eddie Barnes. In lane 3 from Crimson, Matthew Smith. In lane 4 from the Storm, Noah Richardson. In lane 5 from YNS is Wesley Ross. In lane 6 from Bluefish is Caleb Lemke. In lane 7 from Gators is Jack Eady. In lane 8 from the Tritons is Charles Yu. In lane 9 from the Bluefins is Alex Barone. And in lane 10 from the Storm is Riley Wilson. Jaden Fioli-Hawhey says, definitely helps me on my fly. She also says, my coach my coach yells at me to kick, and that's when I really hear. Jack Eady's aunt cheering on out here, Auntie Sarah Dindinger. Tammy, I see that, so I said it right, but then I slipped. I don't know why I'm slipping. I know it's Gray Bar. I know it. In my head, I know it. Darn it, Jeremy. Get it right. Have patience with me, Tammy. Have patience. Well, you know, we've gotten through this 1650, and I think we've had a good session. I've had a good time. I don't know about you all. I've had fun. We got one more heat to go. I have had a blast spending my weekend with each and every one of you and watching these amazing performances here at WPI. Paul Bennett and his staff here at WPI. So Paul is the head swim coach here. Gotten to know several of the staff members here, a couple of his assistant coaches. One sticks out. I met Adriana Grabsky. So Adriana and her husband coach Greenwood Swimming. And I found out yesterday, talking to Adriana, they were both standout swimmers at Virginia Tech University. And Adriana's husband, who is the coach of Greenwood, I don't know his first name, he's still a record holder at Virginia Tech for the 4IM, competed in Olympic trials. I believe Adriana did as well. So I was fortunate enough to be able to pick her brain a little bit because it's not too often that I know swimmers that have competed or compete at that high Division I level. We had Ree Jeffrey joining us last night. I mean, she's an Olympic medalist. She went to the University of Southern California. That's a high-level Division I program. So it was nice to be able to pick her brain a little bit. Eddie Barnes from Executive continues to lead the way, but he's followed closely by Jack Eady, 0.6 of a second behind. They're at the 500-yard mark right now. Lemke is running in third. Ross is fifth. Smith is sixth. Yu seventh. Barone eighth. Henderson ninth. Wilson 10th right now. Barnes and Eady 0.4 of a second apart. So Barnes is in lane 2. Eady's in lane 7. So they are going from right to left right now. Barnes in lane 2 at the bottom of your screen. Eady sort of near the top, a little past the middle in lane 7. Going right to left. Barnes makes his turn right here. Eady right behind him, a half a second behind. Eddie Barnes and Jack Eady continuing. Eady is right there with him. He will not go away. Half a second behind. And he's been a half a second behind for a while now. So both of these swimmers just powering along. Let's take a look at the turn end here. 0.6 behind. Barnes has been very consistent. He's holding 31 points, so 31.6, 0.4, 0.4, 0.6, 0.1. Eady pretty much the same, 31.2, 31.5, 31.5, 31.3, 31.6. So both Barnes and Eady locked in a battle. It's Caleb Lemke running in third right now out of lane 6. Wesley Ross is fourth. Matthew Smith is fifth. Barnes and Eady are the only ones at the 950-yard mark, and now Lemke is as he makes that turn in lane number 6. I'm still here for questions, folks. Wide open. Anything you have, shoot it in the chat. Other than that, I'm going to save the voice a little for tonight's finals. I know I'm going to get excited. I know I'm probably going to be yelling at some of the finishes. I definitely get amped up over this stuff for sure. I will admit, I am actually a little bit tired. It has been a long weekend. And think about that. It was a long weekend, but we didn't have a Friday prelim session, so Friday was timed finals. So I was, yes, Leo Balon says, are you ready for 15 to 18s? I am ready and fired up. I cannot wait to get back here next weekend and do this thing all over again. Obviously, I'm slightly more excited for next weekend because my daughter's swimming. So I'll get to see my daughter Addison compete. I think she's swimming 8 or 9 events next weekend. But it's funny, you know, I had no dog in the fight per se this weekend, but I consider so many of these swimmers and their families friends of mine, not just on Gators, but on all sorts of teams. And I'm constantly meeting new friends, new parents, new families, new swimmers. And you just root for those kids. You root for the good swims, the good comeback stories. So I am ready for 15 to 18s next week. I just got to get through another work week, you know, Monday. This is keeping me out of the Sunday blues. And I'm sure many of you have the Sunday blues like I do. I don't have them that bad anymore. But Sunday blues is that feeling you get on Sunday. Typically, I start to get it around maybe after dinner that, oh, man, the weekend's over. Work tomorrow. You know, you go onto your phone, you check your calendar. Maybe you bang out some emails on a Sunday night to try and get ahead. So this is going to keep me distracted tonight from the Sunday blues. I'm taking Friday off so I can broadcast here. So it'll be a quick work week. And then extremely excited for age groups next weekend. Eddie Barnes and Jack Eady still locked up at the 1350 mark. Barnes has opened up his lead a little bit. He's a little over a second ahead of Eady now. For most of this race, that delta was around a half a second. Barnes in lane 2, Eady in lane 7. Lemke running third, Matthew Smith fourth. Barnes and Eady the only ones at the 1,400-yard mark thus far. You can see Barnes and Eady going left to right now there. I'll tell you, Barnes is about to make his turn right now in lane 2. Eady right now in lane 7. He's still about a second and a quarter behind. Is Eady at the 1,450-yard mark. I mean, Eady is right there. The question is going to be, does Eady have enough in the tank to make a move at some point? Less than 150 yards left. You know, both of these swimmers are feeling it, both Barnes and Eady, actually every one of these swimmers, but Barnes and Eady at the top. There's the bell for Barnes. So Eady has now cut it to 0.3 of a second, folks. Eddie Barnes in lane 2, your leader. Jack Eady in lane 7, 0.3 of a second behind. They're going into their final wall. It is Barnes to the wall first, just ahead of Eady. Can Eady catch up? I don't know. Barnes starting to get a little second wind and pull away. It will be Eddie Barnes who takes it in lane 2. So I was confused there. I think the bell rang. So the bell rang for Barnes. He stopped. Oh boy. So the bell rang for Barnes. It seems like prematurely. He stopped, was at the wall for about 8 or 9 seconds. Then his coaches told him to keep going. He finished his final 50. Eady ends up winning. Okay, so this is an interesting one.
Hi. Are you at the door upstairs? Level 2. I'll be out in a second.
So, folks, I need to step away really quick to let my daughter into the pool. I will be right back. All right, I am back. I don't think so I did see this happen the other day. The bell rang early. I don't really know what happens in this case. I think at the end of the day, there's your results. Wilson will finish up in lane 10. We're going to follow Wilson through here. It's Riley Wilson from the Storm. So there are the final standings. I don't know what happens in that type of situation, folks. I think Eddie Barnes is still looking at the sideline and wondering. So to recap here, Eddie Barnes was leading the way, looking like he was going to win. It seems like the bell was rang in lane 2 early. He did his final 50, what he thought was his final 50. He came into the wall. He stopped. He lingered at the wall for about 6 or 7 seconds until he realized he wasn't done. By then, Edie had already done the final 25, and Barnes ends up taking second. So I don't know what the protocol is for that. I think at the end of the day, the onus is on the swimmer. Ugh, yikes. To understand and know where they are, even though there is a counter and a bell person, but I don't know. If there's any officials or somebody that's listening that knows that scenario and what happens, I don't know what the holdup is for our next and our final heat. We'll have swimmers in lanes 3 through 8. So I don't know if this delay is because of what happened. Some officials are talking to other officials. We do have one more heat to go. It was scheduled to start at 4:42. Again, what's on your screen, those are the unofficial results. I do not have official results. And I don't know whether this delay is due to the last heat and the snafu or if it's something else. I'm not going to speculate. I have no idea. I do know that I believe it was during the 1,000 on Thursday, Jonathan Fioli Hockey from Anglerfish, the bell ringer rang his bell early, and he did not stop when he came in for that next lap. So he knew where he was. Perhaps it was when he went down to the other end and he saw the counter, but he did not stop. He kept going. This is an instance in where the swimmer stopped, lingered at the wall for, I don't know, it seemed like it was 6 to 8, 9 seconds. And I thought there was something wrong with our graphics system because when he touched the wall, the graphic didn't appear. So all right, here we go. We're moving on to our final heat of the 1650. Ollie Lehman in lane 3 from Seacoast. Jonathan Baxter in lane 4 from USC. Henry Michael in lane 5 from Commonwealth. Max Schertman in lane 6 from Crimson. Jacob Schneider in lane 7 from Phoenix. And Nathan Terriot in lane 8 from Phoenix as well. So we're open in lanes 1, 2, 9, and 10. Lanes 3 through 8 occupied. I'm still very curious to find out and understand what happens there. I'm not sure Barnes would get DQ'd. But I don't know, so I'm not going to speculate. I'll wait to get some sort of an update on that, on what happened. But I can tell you that while Edie had come within 0.3 outgoing at the final 50, at the 25 wall, Barnes had started to separate, and he was probably on his way to beating Edie by, I don't know, 1 second to 2 seconds, maybe a little bit more. So we'll see what happens with that. It is Henry Michael leading the way in lane 5. So thank you, Catherine Chapman. For those of you not checking in on the chat, it seems like there's a gray Kia Forte in the garage, mass registration 4 Peter Sam William 19. Has a door cracked open and the lights are on. So if you are the owner of a gray Kia Forte, could be a student, who knows, even though it's the weekend. If you are the owner of a gray Kia Forte, mass tags 4 Peter Sam William 19. Looks like your lights are on and you should get out to your car and address that. Fred Prifty says, yeah, it's a sad ending. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, so I can't say it's a sad ending yet. I mean, but if Barnes, he was well on his way to victory. He was going to win. He was going to edge out Edie by 1, 2, 3 seconds. I do feel bad for whoever rang the bell early. So we'll have to. In any event, Eddie Barnes from Executive had a fantastic swim. I mean, he was the leader, and it's not a situation where he was the leader not holding off anyone. Edie was right on his tail, even though he probably didn't know it because they were 5 lanes apart. Edie was right on his tail for most of the race, actually all of the race. So Barnes swam spectacularly. So did Edie. They both swam amazingly. It's just too bad that there was a little, I don't want to call it a controversy, but a little crazy ending. So in this one, it's been Henry Michael in lane 5. He's been leading since the beginning. So just to reset, Ollie Lehman from Seacoast is actually in lane 1. Jonathan Baxter from USC is in 2. Henry Michael is in lane 3. Max Sturman from Crimson is in lane 4. And it's Henry Michael from Commonwealth in lane 5. So there must have been a reshuffling of these lane assignments after they forwarded the data to me, so that's why our lane assignments don't look correct. We also have Jacob Schneider in lane 7, and no, we don't. I am completely confused here as to who's in the pool and where, because I don't have the correct data. So it looks like Lehman in 1, Baxter in 2, Michael in 3, Sturman in 4, Schneider in 5, Terriot in lane 6. So that looks correct. This will be our final heat of the mile. We'll have a bit of a break before we start finals tonight. Our final finals of the evening and of the weekend here at the 11 to 14 age group championships. Okay, so So again, just for all those watching, Lehman in lane 1, Baxter in 2, Michael in 3, Sturman in 4, Schneider in 5, Terriot in lane 6.
Conclusion of warm-up is very important. We're presenting the awards for the 50 breaststroke, the 500, and the mile. So after warm-up, could I have the finalists in that 50 breaststroke and a coach from Gator being ready to present the awards? Coaches, if you have no one swimming this afternoon session, you're still here, please hang around for the mile awards and then select your bags. Coaches, again, once you are done and after the labels have been created, please make sure you are collecting your ribbons and medals, as we do not wish to keep them. We wish to give them to your kids.
So a quick announcement on medals and all sorts of other things here at WPI. Surprising that we're in 2022 and for distance events or when pools are constructed or even retrofitted, there's not some sort of clock or countdown screen on the far end.
Again, at the conclusion of warm-up, we're doing awards 50 breaststroke.
Instead of relying on other swimmers to hold the pole down with a number on it, because I know it can. I can tell you my daughter Addison was counting for a teammate about 4 or 5 years ago in the 500, and she miscounted. It was the mile, actually. So it was this event. It was at Brown. It was for one of her teammates. And my daughter miscounted and, created a little bit of a, situation. So it's just amazing by now this isn't something that technology hasn't been able to solve for. Retrofit a little screen at the other end of the pool, right below the waterline, which, when the swimmer is at the other end and they touch the wall, a real-time calculation of how many lengths are left. That way it takes all of the possible human error out of it.
you have an electronic car and it's fully charged, you kindly move it so someone else can start charging their car.
So Michael takes first, Baxter second, Lehman takes third. Actually, no, it wasn't. Yeah, folks, I'm sorry. It's the scoreboard in here says one thing. My data says another thing. They gave me a file with the swimmers in the wrong lanes. So you're going to have to check Meet Mobile for the official times and lanes. Sometimes you just got to throw your hands in the air. What can I do? So that's it for the distance session. We will move into our finals tonight, which will be on a separate stream. We do have the link already posted. So we will see everybody. Oh, not yet. Almost. Let's see if I hit results, if it gives me. Oh, no, we got the bell. So that's, I believe that is Jacob Schneider. So we'll bring you the rest of Jacob's swim. So nice finish by Schneider. It wasn't Sturman. It was Schneider in lane 5, excuse me. I'll be glad when this distance session is over, and it is. That's it, folks. So we'll see you for finals tonight. I believe we'll be on in just under an hour. Good luck to all you swimmers. Congratulations on all of the distance swimmers. Thank you.